The early mountaineers and the early Mootses, Moots? How's it going? I'm John at the Radavist. We're back again with another beautiful builds video. This time, we're looking at the Routt Escape from Moots. Well, Moots has this legacy. They've been building frames in the Rockies for over 40 years in Steamboat Springs. So they know a thing or two about bike design. So the Routt Escape is a progression in the Routt lineage of their gravel bikes. And think of the Routt Escape like the Routt 45 and the Baxter had a baby. The Routt Escape is named after Routt County, and it's the progression of the lineage of the Routt models. But what this bike is different than anything Moots has done in the past. It's like a gravel bike and a mountain bike just, came together and made this like really capable, let's just call it an adventure bike. I hate all this nomenclature. It's just an adventure bike. You've got cargo bosses on the fork. You could put a bike packing saddle pack on it, a frame bag, a handlebar roll. You can kind of outfit it for anything. Or if you're gonna go do a longer gravel race, you could put a half frame bag on and a little handlebar bag, and it's gonna be good to go. The Baxter was essentially a drop bar 29er with a suspension corrected carbon fork. Problem with the Baxter is the spacing wasn't boost. So what that means for anyone out there that's on a mountain biker is mountain bikes traditionally have a wider rear end than a road or a gravel bike, and a wider front end for that matter. So 142, there's even 148, there's even bigger spacing, super boost spacing. But what Moots did was they said, okay, what worked on the Baxter and what didn't? The tire clearance worked on the Baxter. The long axle to crown of the suspension corrected fork, not so much. The spacing, definitely not. So they tackled all of those problems with this new Routt Escape platform. It's got a titanium chassis, just like all of Moots, welded in Steamboat Springs. It's got a titanium segmented fork. We'll get to that in a little bit. The rear end is boost spacing. The front end is boost spacing. So these are mountain bike wheels on a gravel bike. The thing that makes this bike really unique is that this segmented fork is non-suspension corrected. So it's built around the clearance for the tire. A lot of times you'll see bikes like this and they have like all this extra clearance from the tire to the fork crown, and that's because they're using suspension corrected forks. This fork was designed for a specific axle to crown and actually comes from a brand called Bear Claw Bicycle Company. This Routt, as you can see, is a pretty capable bike. Rips on gravel, fun on single track, pedals nicely. The size large I'm reviewing, which is technically the size too small for me. I should be on an XL, but it goes like that sometimes. This bike only weighs 23 pounds on the nose. Not bad. They went a little step further and started to use SRAM's Axis platform, so you can have a force road or gravel shifter with an Eagle mountain bike mech in the back. Now, Eagle has a 10 to 50 and a 10 to 52 cassette, depending on like when the spec was launched or whenever Moots bought the parts for this bike. I'm not sure, I haven't counted. 50 to 52, can't really tell that much of a difference. It's also got a kind of traditional cyclocross drivetrain in terms of the crankset. It's a 1x crankset with a 40-tooth front chainring. So yeah, it's like a 40-tooth front with a 50 or 52-tooth rear. Pretty good range. Definitely will ensure that you're able to ride up that stuff that all your buddies are walking up on their gravel bikes. If you've been a fan of the Moots legacy, you'll probably agree that their head badges are pretty unique. I mean, it's got an alligator riding a bicycle with some snow-capped mountains in the background. That might be pretty weird to you, but you should have seen the original Moots head badge, which looked like an alligator in a circus on acid. I don't know what Ericsson was thinking, but I dig it, and I kind of wish they would bring it back. Well, one of the funny things is, the gentleman that was making these head badges for Moots, these cast head badges with like a relief, and you could see like the little knife marks on them, it's this fellow named Mike Cherney. He lives up in the state of Jefferson in Northern California, and Mike was hand carving and hand casting all these head badges for Moots back in the 90s. He actually sent me one, and the resemblance to the one on the Routt is like pretty striking.
My takeaway on the Routt Escape is, you know, you go out with your roadie buddies and you put some slicks on this thing, you're probably gonna get dropped. You're still gonna enjoy the ride because it's a really comfortable bike. The fit's awesome. It's not too like racer oriented. But you go out with your gravel buddies, they might still drop you on the climb, but you're gonna blow past them on the descent. And then you're also gonna take the single track back down to town while they're like stuck out getting dusted out by logging trucks. So it might be worth it in the end. I don't know, that's for you to decide.